Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We have finally gathered to give solemn expression to the constitutional provision which asserts that sovereignty resides in the people, and that governments, when they derive their authority from the people, must utilize it only to promote their general welfare and prosperity. We are here to promote the general welfare and the prosperity of the Gambian people. And that's the spirit we should direct every word and action in this national assembly. This is a transitional government inheriting an order with the mandate to build another order, a new Gambia, that the president said the people want and the people deserve. Conscience must guide us. Truth must guide us. Good faith must guide us. The national interest must guide us. It is important to bear in mind that unless you understand the challenges of a country, you cannot actually provide the policies, the plans, the programs, the projects to address them. Right here, we've been given an emergency development policy funding, showing that we are in an emergency situation. And what we were told, the public enterprises that should provide dividend to government, non-tax revenue, right now we're owing 9 billion. They're in a crisis, and we are told that part of the money being taken as loan would have to be utilized to try to change those institutions and make them viable. And I had the minister, when questioned by one of the members, would you privatize, invite private investment into this public enterprise? He said, not now, because they're not viable. But we must take the tax money of the people to make them viable, and then do what afterwards? Privatize them, so that the people will continue to pay the loans, and others will benefit? Is that the direction? If that is the direction, then that is not the direction that I stand for. And if there are failures, it's not my failure. It's the failure of those who have failed to learn from history. 1988-89. We know what happened here. GPMB was collapsing. First, 83 million, 30.7 million injected into GPMB. By 1992, prospectus to privatize, $20 million. GCDB, because of the bad debt, 72 million pumped in, 1988-89, 1987-88, 1889, 126 million. How did it end up? AMRC. When they checked, over 110 million bad debts, only 20 million could be recovered, and Meridian Bank took the 20 million, and the rest to AMRC. Is that where we are moving? Because the minister told me here, right in front of my face, that the ERP was successful. Where GPMB could only purchase in 1991 2,200 tons of groundnut. And some members here say successful agricultural program. When in 1994, the cooperative union had how many? 48, I think, dollars in its coffers. Collapsed. Owing tremendous millions from the Gambia Commercial and Development Bank. And they had to establish the Macaulay Commission, the Commission of Inquiry, and then the coup d'etat came. Is that where we are heading to? So it is important for us to know that this is not a time to romanticize. This is a time to be calculative, If anybody wants to tell me that we are told from what we are inheriting, $182 million, NEMA, FASTED, JICA, they said that is what is there. Is it what is there? We need to find out. You have to start from somewhere. How are we going to ensure that food sufficiency is guaranteed, to remove the farmers from poverty? What I hear people saying, well, why don't we get investors to take over the land? America is 3% of the population farming. Is Gambia America? Where are the factories where people will work when they are removed from the land? Is that the development policy that can save our people from poverty? We are saying there are family farms requiring fertilizer, seed, farming implements so that they produce and remove themselves from poverty. If that fails to happen, if you fail, that is not my failure, because that's not my direction. My direction is to create a cooperative bank that will help those farmers, family farms, to own their land, not to become like a kafuta, working for somebody else, from the cradle to the grave. I see those women who come to my street, coming from the combos every single day, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then go back by 2 o'clock, selling on the ground their vegetables, which perishes when it cannot be bought. How do you save those women? By empowering them, by creating the market opportunities so that they don't have to come to that street and disrupt all the traffic. They are not the problem. We have to provide a solution for them, a marketing strategy where you go to their farm and buy their produce, process them or market them. That is the challenge. We do not have the solutions yet. I said here there is no development blueprint. There is no development blueprint, and the majority leaders start quoting copiously from a national development plan that the very President of the Republic said it is yet to come to fruition. Maybe this coming month, before the end, or 2 weeks after that. There is still need for a national development plan encompassing all these sectors, indicating the direction of the government, so that ultimately you have the strategic plans of the ministries, which becomes more concrete, and to the programs which become more concrete, the projects which are time-bound to be able to address the needs and aspirations of public. That's how a government works. And it should be a consultative exercise. Whichever consultant prepare all this, call all of us, we validate it. Have an input. It should have started 6 months ago. But now that it had not, this is the time to move on. And to move on with sincerity and modesty. Honorable Speaker, it is very clear if we look at that grades 1 less than 1,000, 2 to 4 less than 2,000, 5 to 6 less than 3,000 a month, 7 to 9 less than 5,000 a month. The highest grades between 5,000 and 8,000 a month. That is the salary scale of the country. And when the President spoke to us, they're talking about staff audit, and from the staff audit, maybe they will have savings to increase salaries. The very people who will be pushed out, squeezed out, are Gambians who need to survive. What are you going to do? Package them and throw them into the ocean? Whose responsibility it is to provide for every Gambian? That's not the way to think. There is no excess baggage anywhere. Government's responsibility is to provide for everyone. And if the trend continues, the trend I see, then we are yet to talk about moving towards a new Gambia which is inclusive. The new Gambia cannot isolate anyone. The new Gambia must be inclusive. It must provide for everyone. And we have seen the sectors. Industry, just 13% of GDP. And that is the basis of employment. What are we going to do with the DGC? What is its capacity? Who told us? What is it producing? How much oil? If we import over 600 million worth of oil. If GGC can produce that, we are putting 600 million into our national economy. If we produce 200,000 tons of rice, we are putting into our economy 1.9 billion. So we need to see all the sectors where we're importing and look at the distortion in terms of import-export. We have come to a point where in terms of imports in 2014, the deficit was 11.7 billion. Import, subtracting export from import. And 2015, 12 billion. How do we deal with the deficit? We must enhance production. That is what a plan is all about. That's what we need to think about. What do we expand as import substitution so that we provide for ourselves? That is the task. ICT, we are told that in all the regions, 5 regions, there are 7 centers that were meant to connect schools, connect communities for ICT programs. Have we been told anything about that? Nothing. And people claim there is a development plan. Where is it? Not yet. That's why we are saying it's not yet. Because you need to plan for that. In 2011, there was an agreement between the companies and government so that in terms of the landing, that there will be cooperation. The landing party will be cooperation between, that is for the submarine cable in the Gambia, that they will cooperate with government to be able to run it.
Minutes.
Thank you very much. So I will shorten it by emphasizing that clearly we need to look at each sector, even the sector of oil production. The minister told us that as far as airplanes, 471 million will be earned from selling it. Why can we not have a national career? We want to go to Senegal sometimes how many days en route? We are told 4 airplanes. What are we going to do with it? Sell it. At least that seems to be the intention, 471 million. Why can't we, if they are viable, transfer them into national carriers? If not, sell them and buy what can provide national carrier. So essentially what I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, is we must start to settle down and know that we have a long way ahead. We are just crawling. We need to stand and then work before running. And yes, many things I could have said, but essentially I don't have the time. But I want everybody to reflect what is happening in Venezuela right now. What has happened in Libya? What is happening in South Sudan? It's not military might that creates security in a country. It's not what creates peace in a country. And many of you are praising rightly the President of Senegal. But let me tell you that this was a teamwork headed by the President of Liberia, President Shirley. Without her, you will not have the peace you have today. Let me tell you that economic forces can threaten it. But if economic forces brought down their weapons and aeroplanes storming the State House and the Canela, you know how much weapons were deposited in those places. Your army would have disintegrated, your security forces would have disintegrated, the whole society disintegrated. Who will control what? Who will control what?
Honorable, your time is up.
Thank you very much. So let us all move towards one Gambia, one nation, one people. That is our destiny.